the importance of inheritance tax planning. I'm joined today by Tony Gimple and John Howard. Thanks for joining me, chaps. We're going to be covering that kind of boring part of life, you know, where people don't plan, writing wills, planning tax. Tony, tax. Something you love, mate. Something you love. I'm Nicholas Woolwork, CEO of Redbrick and propertyforum.com, and I want to pick the guys' brains. A couple of my fellow panelists on propertysummits.com. Make sure you check that out, please. Tony, you're the resident tax expert amongst us, for very good reason. Huge wealth of experience. Yep. Why on earth should we be planning for the future that far? Why should we be planning that far in the future? You know, start from the end.
Yeah,
and work backwards or something, right?
Well, death and taxes. We're all going to die, and if you're not, let me know. I'd like to be your agent. Usual terms and conditions apply.
Yeah, that's cheerful.
That's what makes us human. People whinge about inheritance tax, and actually it is the most unfair tax.
It's really unfair. It's a double tax.
Hugely unfair.
Oh, completely. It's nothing new. It's been around for ages. Romans, Greeks, ancient Egyptians all had it in some way. It's part of state stocks are grey robbery. So, how can you deal with inheritance tax? Well, you always spend the money. We have our kids, feed them, clothe them, teach them everything they know, what more than they want. But if you can't get away during your lifetime, because you need it, or you want to hang on to it, the most critical thing you can do is get your will sorted, leave everything to the spouse or the civil partner, because there's no inheritance tax between spouses. And when you both fall off your perch,
that'll cheer up.
That'll cheer me out. Yeah. But when you both fall off your perch, if you've got kids, make sure it goes to them. And if you haven't got kids, well, decide what you want to do with it before you get to that point.
Yeah.
You probably all watched Air Hunters in your time, and it can be an absolute nightmare. Terrible business. But the thing is, plan in advance. Don't use your will as a tool to give and take.
Yeah, but totally. What I would say is, before COVID, of course, the government were looking to increase the level, reduce the level of inheritance tax on the basis that it's pretty unfair.
Yeah.
Having already paid huge amount of tax during the lifetime, you then get the final clobber when you peg it or
half again.
Exactly. You pay another up to 40%, isn't it, Tony?
It's 40%. So you've got what's called the nil rate band, 325,000 each. On top of that, you've got your main residence relief. So effectively, a couple can pass on £1 million free of inheritance tax, after which it's 40% anything above that.
I'm just going to say, I'm looking at a portfolio at the moment, which is in excess of 25 million. And the whole portfolio is being sold because the inheritance tax is that much money. That's a quarter of the total assets of the family.
So a rental portfolio?
So rental portfolio, the guy had built 1,000 properties between 1950, 1945 and 1980, and it's been passed to his wife. His wife's now died, and they're selling a quarter of it just to pay inheritance tax. It just shows you how, and they obviously didn't plan well enough.
So what do you, if I can just add a question there, so anyone with a portfolio of £1 million or less, they're not doing any planning? Is that the statutory rules?
What happens if Labour get it?
Oh, don't go there. Yeah, thankfully.
100%.
So that will change. Definitely change.
No matter how rich or how poor, always take advice, because things will change. You could be worth nothing today, but who knows? Suddenly, you think, well, actually, property is for me. You build a portfolio and you've gone from zero to hero. And if you don't get the planning right on day one, you're back to zero again.
So it's like we always say on property summits, treat your investments like a business.
Absolutely, it's got to be a business that keeps. So it's so important. But how do people avoid Because there's a 7-year rule, isn't there, Tony, or something?
All right, so the corrective is mitigate.
Right, okay. Well,
So
of course, that means usual.
You meant to say how you evade it, didn't you?
I'm using the fun words rather than the actual words I should be using.
No, that's okay.
What a surprise.
That's right.
You've never been blunt before,
No,
John.
never.
Never in his life.
You never spoke your mind.
No, try not to.
Honestly, that's too.
Carry on.
So you sort of what we call potential exempt transfers.
Right.
So I can give away all of my estate tomorrow,
Right.
but I cannot reserve any benefit in it whatsoever. It has to be a complete arm's length gift.
Okay.
For the first 4 years, effectively it still stays in my estate.
Yeah.
Then you've got what's called taper relief.
Okay.
So after 7 whole years, it's completely
free.
It's free.
So, for instance, if I wanted to, I don't. So, if my
Well,
stepchildren are watching, please do
leave.
not get excited.
Yeah.
But if I wanted to give my house away to them now, okay,
Your residence, your
in
home.
my main residence, and rent it back to myself.
It's
Test case, presumably, there's been test cases on that, presumably.
You have to pay market rent.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
I can live with that.
You're almost certainly giving them an income tax problem as a result.
Some people would say that's their problem, but not yours.
But the real danger
Yeah,
is you've now got a tenancy agreement,
yeah,
they own the property,
yeah.
if there's any kind of mortgage on it and using trusts,
Fortunately, there's not, no.
okay, but even if you try and put the properties in trust
Yeah,
and want to borrow money on it, there can be issues with lenders,
yeah,
because who do they pursue
yeah.
after the event? And just on the whole trust side of things, particularly with inheritance tax,
Yeah,
you've got what's called POAT, pre-owned asset tax. There can be interest in possession, you can end up with double inheritance tax charges.
yeah. Well, I've got it sounds like this is a personal. This sounds like
You're
it's.
getting your advice today.
I'm getting my advice free of charge on camera, which
You've
is
never
great.
thought of this,
No,
have you? Because you're
no.
only young still.
Of course, I'm 28 now. Actually, I think I'm 30.
Yeah.
I actually think I'm 37, but I'm nearly 60. But I can't believe I'm saying that. So I've got an onshore trust, not an offshore trust, an onshore trust with assets in it.
Discretionary trust.
Discretionary trust, yeah. Yeah. So does that make a lot of difference? I can hand the trust over, presumably.
Depends on the wording of the trust. There should be powers of appointment. Discretionary trusts aren't secret documents.
No.
You've got to complete trust tax returns.
Yeah.
There can be an immediate charge for tax on entry if it's above your allowance. There can be tax charges every 10 years, and there can be exit charges as well.
He knows what he's talking about, doesn't he?
Yeah. And a caveat from nicholaswarwick.com YouTube. This is not advice. Do not take this advice. This is specific to John, and the context is highly important. As we've covered with Tony in previous videos, the context of any advice is highly important. So don't go off watching this YouTube video thinking you know the answer to inheritance tax. You can take a few tips, but ultimately getting the personalised advice in the context of your own situation is quite
Because
important.
we've always said on all these things, talk to the professionals. Tony being one of them. Don't please go and ask your mate. Don't go and ask me, for instance, because all I know is what Tony's told me, and then I tell someone else, and it's Chinese whispers.
Yeah.
Go and talk to a professional, someone qualified to deal with these things. Always.
I had one of my mentorship clients literally last month come to me, and they'd already filled in the TR1 form from their father to transfer it to them, and they hadn't taken any advice, and that Tony was aware of his client. So thankfully, I've introduced them to Tony, and they're getting some proper advice, because it could have been a disaster.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
Yeah.
okay, right. Thank you very much for
No,
that. That was
pleasure.
really insightful. Obviously, we can't cover
Thank you, Tony.
everything.
Thank you, Tony.
Cover everything. The invoice will be in the post to John.
Yeah, we know that.
We can't cover everything to do with inheritance tax or trusts and all this kind of today, but hopefully you see a few tips. Hopefully you've seen how complicated it can be and how you need your own personal advice for your own context. Really, really important. So reach out to Tony or one of us on the panel. Make sure you visit propertysummits.com, and we'll hope to see you on a video very soon. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified of new videos. Hopefully you'll be enjoying some of our educational content very soon. Thank you very much.